The tattoo artist was proud of his work, a full sleeve dedicated to Ozzy Osbourne. The bat, the cross, the lyrics, all perfectly detailed. When a new client walked into the shop, the artist couldn't help but show it off. "This is my tribute to the greatest metal singer ever. Look at the detail." The client examined it carefully. "That's really good work." The artist beamed. "Thanks. Most people don't appreciate Ozzy like I do. He's my hero." 5 minutes later, the artist discovered he'd been fanboying about Ozzy Osbourne to Ozzy Osbourne. It was a Tuesday afternoon in March 2017, and Ink and Iron Tattoo Studio in Los Angeles was having a quiet day. Marcus Chen, the shop's owner and lead artist, was reorganizing his reference materials when the bell chimed. A customer walked in. Older gentleman, maybe late 60s, black baseball cap, aviator sunglasses, dark jacket, and jeans. He had the weathered look of someone who'd lived an interesting life. "Hi there," Marcus greeted him. "Welcome to Ink and Iron. What can I help you with?" The man approached the counter. "I'm looking for someone who can do a portrait touch-up. My wife's portrait on my shoulder is fading a bit. Can you handle that?" Marcus nodded. "Absolutely. Portrait work is my specialty. When did you get it done?" "About 15 years ago. Different artist, different city. Just needs some refreshing." "No problem. Let me see what we're working with." The man removed his jacket and pulled his shirt aside to reveal a portrait tattoo on his shoulder. It was Sharon Osbourne, recognizable even with the fading. A beautiful piece, clearly done by a skilled artist, just in need of some color restoration. Marcus examined it professionally. "This is nice work. Original artists knew what they were doing. I can definitely freshen this up for you. Probably take about an hour. I can do it right now if you want." "That'd be great," the man said. Marcus led him to his station, had him settle into the chair, and began preparing his equipment. As he worked, he couldn't help but notice the man's other tattoos, clearly someone who appreciated the art form. "You've got some good ink," Marcus commented. "Been collecting long?" "Yeah, quite a while," the man said. "Various places, various artists. Each one tells a story." Marcus loved clients who understood tattoos as storytelling. "That's the way to do it. My tattoos all mean something to me, too." He rolled up his right sleeve, revealing a full sleeve tattoo that he'd spent 3 years completing. It was an elaborate tribute to Ozzy Osbourne, a bat in flight, crosses, Gothic lettering with lyrics, a portrait of Ozzy himself, all woven together in a cohesive design. "See this? This is my tribute to the greatest metal singer ever, Ozzy Osbourne. Look at the detail on the bat. Took my colleague 6 hours just to get the wings right." The customer leaned closer to examine it. "That's really good work. Very detailed." Marcus was pleased to have an appreciative audience. "Thanks. Most people don't appreciate Ozzy like I do. He's my hero. Been a fan since I was 12 years old." "What got you into his music?" the customer asked, seeming genuinely interested. "My dad," Marcus said, beginning to work on the Sharon portrait touch-up. "He was a metalhead. Played Ozzy constantly when I was growing up. Blizzard of Oz, Diary of a Madman, all the classics. That music was the soundtrack to my childhood." "Sounds like your dad had good taste," the customer said. "He did. Passed away when I was 17. This sleeve is partly for him, too. Every time I look at it, I think about him blasting Crazy Train while working in the garage." The customer's expression softened. "I'm sorry about your dad, but that's a beautiful way to remember him." Marcus continued working, getting into the rhythm of the touch-up while talking about his passion. "You know what I love about Ozzy? He's authentic. Never pretended to be something he wasn't. Made mistakes, owned them, kept going. That's real." "That's a nice way to look at it," the customer said. "And the music," Marcus continued enthusiastically. "Randy Rhoads, Zakk Wylde, all these incredible guitarists who played with him. The man knew talent when he saw it." He pointed to a specific part of his sleeve. "See this lyric here? From Mama, I'm Coming Home. That song got me through some tough times. Times have changed and times are strange. Here I come, but I ain't the same. That line means everything to me." The customer examined the lyric tattoo carefully. "The typography is excellent, very clean." "Thanks. That took forever to get right. I wanted it perfect because those words are important to me." For the next 20 minutes, as Marcus worked on the portrait touch-up, he told stories about his Ozzy fandom. about seeing him in concert 5 times, about his collection of memorabilia, about how Ozzy's music had been there through his dad's death, through difficult relationships, through starting his own business. The customer listened patiently, asking occasional questions, seeming genuinely interested. "What's your favorite Ozzy era?" the customer asked. "Hard to say," Marcus considered. "The Randy Rhoads years are untouchable musically, but I have a soft spot for the later stuff too. No More Tears, that whole album is incredible." "You really know your Ozzy history," the customer observed. "I should," Marcus laughed. "I've probably spent thousands of hours listening to his music, reading about him, watching documentaries. Some people think it's obsessive, but I see it as appreciation." He finished the color work on the portrait and began the final details. "Your wife is going to love this refresh. It's coming out great." "She'll be happy," the customer agreed. Marcus stepped back to check his work. "You know, it's interesting that you have a portrait of your wife. That's real commitment. I always tell people, don't get your partner's name or face tattooed unless you're absolutely sure." "We've been married a long time," the customer said. "I'm sure." "That's beautiful," Marcus said sincerely. "How long?" 35 years. Marcus whistled. "That's incredible. Congratulations. She must be special." "She is," the customer said with genuine warmth. "She's been my rock through everything." Marcus put the final touches on the portrait. "All right, let me clean this up and you can see the result." He carefully wiped away the excess ink and applied the protective covering. Then he held up a mirror so the customer could see. "What do you think?" The customer examined the refreshed portrait. "That's perfect. You did exactly what it needed." "Great," Marcus was pleased. "Let me wrap this up and give you the aftercare instructions." As he prepared the bandage, Marcus couldn't help but return to his favorite topic. "You know what I'd love? To meet Ozzy someday. Just shake his hand. Tell him what his music meant to me, especially about my dad." "What would you say to him?" the customer asked. Marcus thought about it. "I'd tell him that his music gave me and my dad something to bond over, that even after my dad died, I could feel connected to him through those songs. And I'd thank him for being real, for showing that you can make mistakes and still be someone worth admiring." The customer nodded slowly. "That's a powerful message." "Yeah," Marcus said. "I mean, I know he gets that kind of thing all the time from fans, but I'd still want him to know." He finished the bandaging and stepped back. "All right, you're all set. Keep it covered for a few hours. Wash gently. Use the ointment I'm giving you. It should heal beautifully." The customer stood up, examining the bandage. "Thank you. This is excellent work." "My pleasure. Let me ring you up." They walked back to the counter. As Marcus was processing the payment, the customer said, "Can I ask you something about your sleeve?" "Of course." "What's your favorite part of it?" Marcus looked at his arm. "Probably the portrait of Ozzy himself. My colleague Tony did that part. He's a portrait specialist. Getting the eyes right was crucial. They have this intensity, this life. When people see it, they immediately know it's Ozzy." "He did capture the eyes well," the customer agreed. "Right?" Marcus was enthusiastic. "Tony spent hours getting the shading perfect. He used reference photos from the Blizzard of Oz era. That's my favorite look." The customer smiled. "I remember that era. It was incredible, right? The music, the energy. I wish I'd been old enough to see it live." "It was something special," the customer said quietly. Marcus handed over the receipt and aftercare instructions. "You're all set. Come back in 2 weeks so I can check the healing." "I will." The customer hesitated. "Actually, I have a question about your sleeve." "Yeah?" "It's missing something." Marcus was surprised. He'd spent 3 years perfecting this sleeve. "What's it missing?" The customer pulled off his baseball cap and sunglasses. The face was older than in the portrait on Marcus's arm, more lined but unmistakable. "My signature," Ozzy Osbourne said. "I'm Ozzy, and if you want, I'll sign your arm and you can get it tattooed permanent." Marcus's brain completely stopped working. He stared at Ozzy, then at the Sharon portrait he'd just touched up, then back at Ozzy, then at his own arm with the Ozzy tribute sleeve, then back at Ozzy again. "Oh my God," he managed. "Hi," Ozzy said warmly. I spent 20 minutes. I showed you the tattoo of you." "Yeah," Ozzy said, clearly amused. "You did. And I have to tell you, that's one of the best tributes I've ever seen. Your colleague Tony did an incredible job on the portrait. Marcus couldn't form sentences. I was talking about you, to you. And I didn't. I get that a lot, Ozzy said kindly. People don't expect me to just walk into a random tattoo shop. I told you my whole life story, about my dad, about the music. I was fanboying about you to you. Ozzy's expression was genuine. And that was beautiful. What you said about your dad, about the music connecting you to him even after he passed, that means more to me than you know. That's why I make music. For exactly that reason. Marcus felt his eyes getting wet. I can't believe this is happening. Believe it, Ozzy said. And I meant what I said. I'd be honored to sign your arm. That sleeve is incredible. And if you want my actual signature on it, I'll give it to you right now. Are you serious? Marcus asked. Completely serious. You got a Sharpie? Marcus fumbled for a marker, his hands shaking. Ozzy took it and carefully signed Marcus's forearm right below the portrait in his distinctive handwriting. There, Ozzy said. Now you can get that tattooed over whenever you're ready. Marcus stared at the signature on his arm. Ozzy Osbourne's actual signature on his Ozzy tribute sleeve, signed by Ozzy himself. I don't know what to say, Marcus whispered. You already said it, Ozzy told him. Everything you told me about your dad, about what the music meant to you, that's everything I could want to hear. Would you mind if we took a picture? Nobody's going to believe this. Of course not, Ozzy said. Marcus's assistant, who'd been watching the whole thing from the back room in complete shock, came out to take photos. Multiple shots of Marcus and Ozzy together, of the tribute sleeve, of the fresh signature. Your dad would be proud, Ozzy said. Not just of the tattoo, but of what you've built here. Your own business, your art, that's real success. Marcus was openly crying. Thank you so much. Thank you, Ozzy said, for keeping the music alive, for sharing it with others. That's what matters. After Ozzy left, Marcus sat down, still processing. His assistant came over. That just happened, right? I think so, Marcus said. You fanboyed about Ozzy Osbourne to Ozzy Osbourne for 20 minutes. I did. And he loved it. He did. Marcus looked at the signature on his arm. I need to get this tattooed today, right now. His assistant laughed. I'll call Tony. Marcus posted the photos that night. Today I spent 20 minutes telling a customer about my hero, Ozzy Osbourne. The customer was Ozzy Osbourne. He signed my tribute sleeve. I'm never washing this arm again until it's permanently tattooed. The post went viral. Music sites picked it up. Marcus's shop was flooded with appointment requests. 2 days later, Marcus sat in Tony's chair while Tony carefully tattooed over Ozzy's signature, making it permanent. This is the coolest thing I've ever gotten to tattoo, Tony said. An actual Ozzy signature on an Ozzy tribute sleeve. I still can't believe it happened, Marcus said. The signature became the centerpiece of his sleeve. Marcus started every consultation by showing it and telling the story. The lesson I learned, he'd say, is that when you put love and authenticity into something, that energy comes back to you. I made this sleeve because I genuinely love Ozzy's music, and somehow that love brought Ozzy himself into my shop. 3 months later, Marcus received a package. Inside was a signed photo of Ozzy with a note. To Marcus, thanks for the excellent work on Sharon's portrait and for keeping my music alive. Your dad was right about good taste. Ozzy. The photo hangs in his shop now, above his station, next to a plaque, Ink with Love. Marcus's business thrived, but he never forgot the lesson. Authenticity attracts authenticity, he tells his apprentices. I wasn't trying to impress anyone. I was just being real about what the music meant to me. And that realness made the moment special. Today, when clients ask about the signature on his sleeve, Marcus tells the whole story, including the 20 minutes of fanboying. The embarrassing part is the best part, he says, because it was real. I wasn't performing. I was just a fan sharing genuine love for an artist, and that artist appreciated it. The Ozzy tribute sleeve, now complete with an authentic Ozzy signature, has been featured in tattoo magazines worldwide, but Marcus doesn't care about the recognition. What I care about, he says, is that somewhere my dad is laughing about the time his son talked about Ozzy Osbourne to Ozzy Osbourne. If this story about authenticity, genuine fandom, and unexpected moments made you smile, make sure to subscribe and hit that like button. Share this video with anyone who's ever had a hero and wants to believe heroes can be kind. Have you ever met someone you admired without realizing who they were? Let us know in the comments, and don't forget to ring that notification bell for more wholesome stories about the beautiful coincidences that happen when you live authentically.